Hello friends, welcome into the Cowboys Report presented by BetDSI, the internet's #1 sportsbook. We're a little over a week away from the NFL draft, so let's take a look at some of the Cowboys' top draft targets, the players who they could legitimately take in the second round. This is kind of a balancing act of who's going to be there, who's likely to be there, versus who the Cowboys would ideally take. So it's kind of a hybrid there of those two. Now, 5 names here that the Cowboys did bring in for pre-draft visits who I could see a scenario in which they are the Cowboys' first pick in the NFL draft, but I don't consider them the most likely targets, or they might make more sense as round 3 picks. Damian Harris, Jace Sternberger, Dawson Knox, Gerald Willis, Tristan Hill, all guys that make some sense, but they did not crack the top 10 in the end there for the Dallas Cowboys. Now make sure you guys are subscribed to us on YouTube, our main YouTube channel, youtube.com/chatsportstv. We'll be live for all 7 rounds of the NFL draft, breaking down every single pick, and yes, those include the Cowboys picks as well. Start things off at number 10. Zach Allen leads the way here. I think of him as kind of like a Tyrone Crawford type player. Has some inside-outside position flex, which we know the Cowboys like quite a bit. I like his motor. Has a unique ability to break up passes at the line of scrimmage there. I think he might be better as an inside edge or inside defensive lineman, but maybe he's a guy that plays on the outside on base downs, kicks inside on third downs, much like Tyrone Crawford. I don't think he's the top target. He's the only guy on this list that wasn't a pre-draft visit or a Dallas Day guy, but he does fit what the Cowboys like at defensive end. Number 9, another edge guy, or at least defensive lineman edge hybrid type player, LJ Collier, who played for TCU, powerful D lineman, and again, much like Zach Allen, has some inside-outside flex. Had a breakout year this year. Didn't measure and test as well as I would have hoped he would have, but he can be a 3-down guy again, just like Zach Allen fits that positional flex mold. Can play outside, can play inside. I think a guy the Cowboys could take. I don't know if he's going to be there in round 2, but could be an option there who plays on defensive end on base downs, kicks inside on third downs, or second downs, depending on how the down and distance. Again, a Tyrone Crawford type replacement. Number 8, Christian Miller, who I feel much better about actually being there than, say, LJ or Zach Allen. Talented pass rusher, and that does show up on tape. The biggest concern is that the injuries were always there for Christian Miller. He's never really been fully healthy in his college football career. Why would that change in the NFL? Now, he was more of a situational player for Alabama. Didn't play a full allotment of snaps, in part because of the injuries. But when he's on the field, he's a gifted edge rusher. Here's how I would use Christian Miller. Take him in round 2, because I don't think he's going to make it to round 3. Play him as the Sam linebacker on base downs, and on passing downs, he plays more of a Randy Gregory type role. He brings you the best pure pass rushing upside of really any of the guys we're going to discuss on this top 10 list. So which edge player would fit best with the Cowboys? Let me know in the comments section. 1 for Zach Allen, 2 for LJ, 3 for Christian Miller. No wrong answers. Some answers just better than others. Let me know what you guys think in the comments section. To number 7 we go, Chauncey Gardner-Johnson. I like him quite a bit. I know many of you guys do as well. He's got a top 32 grade for me. Now the Cowboys need safety help. That's what Gardner-Johnson would play, but he could also play in the nickel if needed. Now Jeff Heath or Jailoka, we know those guys aren't really long-term options there for the Cowboys. My biggest issue with Gardner-Johnson, not the talent, I don't see him lasting all the way to pick number 58. Now, there are always surprises. You can never say never in the NFL draft. But if Gardner-Johnson's there at 58, I'd be pretty stunned. He could be a trade-up target for the Cowboys if he slides, say, into the low to mid-40s. Now, today's show is brought to you guys by BetDSI, the internet's #1 sportsbook. Head over to chatsports.com/bet. Use that promo code Cowboys120 for a 120% deposit bonus. You put down $50. They're going to give you $60 for free. You'll have plenty of NFL draft prop bets as well if you guys want to make some big money over there. Chatsports.com/bet. Number 6 we go, DEEBO Samuel, guy we've mentioned many times on this show. He's the only receiver the Cowboys I think that they've brought in that makes sense at pick 58. Not a slight there for Emmanuel Hall or even Mecole Hardman. I think DEEBO's the only legitimate round target. Those guys make more sense in round 3. And he's a perfect fit for what the Cowboys need at receiver. If you're going to spend a round 2, even round 3 pick on a player at receiver, it has to be someone that can do more than just be a slot. he has to bring you some gadget plays. DEEBO can do that. Has to, most importantly, bring you special teams value. DEEBO Samuel can do that. Now, I don't think he's there at pick 58. If he is, I think the Cowboys would consider it. So should the Cowboys take a receiver at number 58 overall? Type Y for yes, N for no. As you'll see on the list, I would prefer a safety instead. So not a knock on DEEBO, even if he's there, I certainly consider it. I need a safety if I'm the Cowboys. I think there's going to be somebody there who fits the Cowboys mold quite well. Into the top 5 now, maybe a dark horse fit, Isaiah Johnson. If this is the pick, this is all Chris Richard. Johnson fits the Richard mold to a T. He's long, super lanky in terms of his arm length, and also very fast. And oh, by the way, was a receiver. Now, I think 58's a little bit rich for a player like Johnson, who's mostly upside right now. But if I trust anyone in the NFL to get the most out of a player like Johnson, it's probably Chris Richard. I would much prefer him at pick 90, but frankly, I think it's more likely he's gone before 58 than he makes it all the way down to pick number 90. Move then to number 4, and this is where I think things really start to crystallize a bit here in terms of the Cowboys' priorities. Jonathan Abram. Again, we're playing the dangerous game of balancing. The Cowboys would love to get this player, but is he actually going to be there? I don't think Abram's going to last all the way down to pick 58. He's a fast, hard-hitting, strong safety. A team like the Colts, who pick multiple times before the Cowboys, they might pull the trigger on Abram to pair with Malik Hooker, which would be a fantastic pairing for them. But if he's there, he makes sense. I think the Cowboys like him quite a bit, and he fits that mold of a Cam Chancellor type in Richard's defense. To number 3, and I'll be honest, guys, this is the only guy I don't want that we've discussed. I don't want Jaylon Ferguson in round 2. And it's not because he wasn't productive. He was fantastic at college. Again, you don't become the NCAA's all-time leader in sacks by being bad. The problem is that's a different game in college than in the NFL. He is a power rusher, converts speed to power pretty well. The big problem for me is when you play the edge. I think he might have bulked up too much overall, and that might explain why he didn't test so well. You have to be able to have some quickness and some speed and some agility and some bend. That's not Jaylon Ferguson's game. His 808 three-cone isn't just bad. It is historically bad among all NFL edge rushers that have been drafted. The odds of him having a success rate aren't that high because of that testing, because guess what? In athletics, athleticism tends to matter. Upside-wise, you might get a Ronald Blair, who had a decent year with the 49ers, 5.5 sacks. Downside, you might stumble your way into a DeMarcus Walker where you don't really know where to play him. Now at number 2 is Taylor Rapp. Now he's an elite tackler, strong agility testing, but long speed's the red flag there. Did not run a good 40 at his pro day. The good news is for the Cowboys, that might let him be there on the board for you. Now, look, you don't want him being a single high guy. Good news, Xavier Woods does that role quite well for the Cowboys. I think he's going to be best in the box. He's not the same speedy guy that Jeff Heath is, but he's a way better tackler. If he's on the board at 58, I don't know if he's going to be. He would be a fantastic pick there by the Dallas Cowboys. The safeties in general, a little dicey as to which one will actually be on the board there for the Cowboys. So Rapp makes sense. And frankly, the bad pro day for speed, despite great agility, might help the Cowboys in the end there when it comes down to getting the best available player on the board for the Cowboys. I would love to find a way to get Taylor Rapp there if he ends up lasting the pick at 58. At number 1 then, Juan Thornhill. Now the Cowboys typically like athletes. They like guys that are a little freaky, that they can grow and build. Think about their most recent draft picks. Leighton Vander Esch, the best example. Total freak. Guess what Juan Thornhill is? He's pretty much a freak. Tested incredibly well given his size at the jumps in terms of broad and vertical and on his 40-yard dash. Thornhill's an interesting player, has corner experience, freaky safety tester, kind of sounds like Byron Jones, right? I think Thornhill's a little bit better. He played more in the box than Byron Jones did. So there is some positional flex here as a safety, as a corner. Maybe he can become, most importantly, your tight end stopper. Cowboys need one of those guys. I think Thornhill would fit that role perfectly. And he's not the same in the box guy that Rapp or Abram is, but he brings you more positional flex there to let Xavier Woods play in the box if needed some, or to play single high if Woods needs a breather. So I like that fit here for Thornhill. There's no wrong answer here, Rapp or Thornhill, Either guy, I think, makes quite a bit of sense there for the Dallas Cowboys. So let's recap then. That's not a word there. My top 10 Cowboys draft targets: Zach Allen, LJ Collier, Christian Miller, Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, DEEBO Samuel. Then the top 5, and I would be a little bit surprised if it wasn't one of these 5 picks, quite frankly: Isaiah Johnson, Jonathan Abram, I don't want Ferguson in round 2, Taylor Rapp, and then Juan Thornhill. So who do you want the Cowboys to draft in round 2 in this year's draft class? Let me know in the comments section. Go tweet me on Twitter at WhatGoingDown if you want to chime in as well. One guy we didn't mention that I know many of you like, Darnell Savage. I am all in. I would love that pick, but the focus here in particular was on the Cowboys' pre-draft visits. I love Savage. I know many of you do. I don't think the Cowboys quite feel the same way about it, but let me know who you want the Cowboys to take in round 2 of the 2019 NFL Draft. Hey Cowboys fans, thanks for watching the Cowboys Report. If you haven't already, click right here to subscribe to our channel for all the best Cowboys coverage on the internet. That's news, rumors, highlights, mailbags, film studies, and a whole lot more. And I'm making your lives a little bit easier as well with the next Cowboys Report video right here.